Hey everybody, welcome to the Nuggies. I'm your host, Matt.
I'm Nate.
I'm Drew.
I'm Tyler.
Hello everybody, welcome to the Linux Cast. We are back and we're stringing some episodes together. It's going to be great. We have a wonderful podcast for you guys planned today. We have an oldie but a good topic, I think, and one that we actually I don't think we've covered since we did the Are There Too Many Distro things, which is like 5 years ago. So it's time for a redo. But anyways, we have a good topic, but before we do, we actually have a mini topic. And that mini topic actually, as I really do need to look at this before I start the podcast, is what's your favorite window manager? Or as I alternatively phrase this, if you could only use one for the rest of your entire life, all the rest of them are not available on your chosen distro or whatever, what would it be? So this does not include desktop environments. So if you aren't a desktop, or if you're a DE user, I apologize for excluding you. But so we'll start with you, Nate, because you are the desktop environment user amongst us. What would you use?
I don't need a Windows environment at all. Don't need a window manager. Pop! OS has tiling if I need it. I will say, if I had to choose, I'd probably pick Awesome.
You'd go Lua. That's interesting.
Respect.
Yeah. You'd be configuring that for a while.
Yeah, but it's actually funny enough. It's the one that I'm actually really comfortable in. I don't know why, but...
Oh, no, there's nothing wrong with it. Awesome is a really good window manager. It's just, not for me. All right. Drew, there's two ways I'm expecting you to go. I don't know which one it's going to to be. So
okay,
what's your answer?
The first thing that I'm going to say is this really a mini topic? Because I can go on and on and on, and we can do an entire, what is it called? The tier lists and everything.
Mr.
Holy
Script King.
smokes. This is the topic of the day, my friend. So if I only had one forever, I would go BSPWM. And I think many people would think, oh, you're going to go DWM and blah, blah, blah. No, actually BSPWM, because out of the box, I would never have to do patches. I would never have to do those things. I would never have to really incorporate a lot to go into it. BSPWM kind of works freaking great all by itself. So that is my answer. Runners up, DWM, awesome, open box. We can go on and on Qtile,
There are, when you're stuck on a desert island, you don't get to have runners up to who you're stuck with.
No, I know. Yeah, but okay, so it's BSPWM all the way.
Okay, good question. Drew, do you use pre-selection in BSPWM or no?
It is a feature that I think I would be shocked if a small percentage of people actually use the pre-selection, because I don't think it's necessary. I just don't. But it is a feature.
Yeah.
So,
because when I first started using BSPWM, that's the feature that I thought was like the marquee feature. I never used it, but I like that's the reason. That's what differentiates it between, like i3 and that whatever. Because it kind of gives you the i3 way of doing things without doing the i3 thing. So yeah, I agree with you. I think hardly anybody uses it. So okay, Tyler, I think I know your answer is as well. What window manager would you be using if you were stuck on a desert island with your laptop and everything that goes with it?
It does make me sad that Drew didn't even mention it in his list of top.
Wait. Are we about to go with compositors too? Because that wasn't part of the question.
Look,
spicy.
Just because the Hyperland comes with a compositor, doesn't make it better than everything else because they don't come with compositors, obviously. But it does make it pretty awesome. So, it just takes care of everything, every single feature you're gonna need. It's just there. Also, it's got plugin support. I don't know, out of the box Hyperland just is really, really nice. And the fact that NVIDIA hardware and Wayland has gotten much better. I could use Hyperland for the rest of my life and never have a problem, ever. So.
Okay. I was just going to say, never have a problem other than bugs, but okay, sure.
Well, all right, look, if I'm literally running bleeding edge,
yeah,
I'm going to have problems. But if you pick any release especially here lately.
Yeah.
I mean, any release and just stick with it, it will last indefinitely. And I don't. Hyperland's one of those things, it's gotten to a point now where you've got to have a very specific, highly niche use case where there's going to be an update that you need.
It literally just crashed before I got onto the call. That's the reason why there was 2 of me. So,
Well, get it right. Stop using it. It's clearly user error. Clearly. Nothing could be
all
wrong with
I did
Hyperland.
was close OBS because it grabbed the webcam. That's all
what are
I
you
did.
closing OBS for in Hyperland?
Exactly.
You know?
See, there you go. Like, you just don't close. Like, you don't close applications. Like,
Just leave them open forever. That's why we have
Move it to a different
workspaces.
workspace and you'll be fine.
I mean, hell, man, you got like 60 of them. What's the problem? Just
I
toss
got
it somewhere.
that many. I think I only have 12. All right, so I think I will surprise you guys with my answer. So, because of the bugs thing, I have to go with i3. i3 has to be the one that I choose.
Okay, I was thinking you're going Qtile, but okay.
Well, I would go with Qtile, but it breaks. Like they break it all the time with updates. Almost like Hyperland does. Like every once in a while, there'll just be something that comes along. Like Hyperland, for example, recently, and D-Dubs will murder me for saying this is a bug. It's not a bug. But they made a change, a breaking change with window rules. They changed the nomenclature in the config file. Where did they tell people this? In the change notes. Who reads the change notes? Well, D-Dubs reads the change notes. That's how I knew about it. Nobody else actually reads those things, so I didn't know about it. And after an update, I rebooted my computer, and all of a sudden, all of my scratch pads weren't floating. And I was like, what the fuck is going on? It's broken. I'm going back to Xwork. You know what I mean? And I was this close, right? It turns out that Piperland also had to be updated in order for that to work, but still, I hated it. So I'm on Hyperland right now. I enjoy Hyperland. I don't trust it. So if I were to only have one, it would be i3, because you can literally do anything you want with i3 if you know enough scripting. It's kind of like BSPWM in that regard. You know, you can do basic. If there's a feature of like DWM that you want that BSPWM doesn't have, you could script it because of BSPC or XDoTool or literally anything that you want to do. You know, so i3 is kind of similar to that. So I would go with i3. It would be pretty sad though to only have to choose one. Don't you agree, Drew?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm actually working on my Awesome WM config because I actually had a conversation with Nate yesterday about Awesome, and I was like, you know what, I need to kind of like do what I did for DWM and BSPWM OpenBox for Awesome WM, and I also want to do Qtile too. So I'm really kind of deep diving into Awesome for the last few hours, but it's a good project. It's a good project, man, no question.
You are right, Tyler. We do need to get Drew on a Wayland compositor one of these days. Just
one of these days
for an experiment to see how it goes.
Maybe
I think
in 2 years.
When it's in the repository, she'll try to use it.
Yep.
All right. So that's our mini topic. So we do those to kind of loosen and break the ice for a little bit. So I hope you guys enjoy those little topics. They're great. Sometimes we have moved away a little bit from the whole our weekend FOSS thing because a lot of times we don't actually do anything that we want to talk about in FOSS. So that's the reason why we started doing those. But before we move on to our main topic, we actually have some housekeeping to do. So the first thing I need to do is if you are listening to this after the podcast has aired and you are listening to it on a podcatcher of some sort, like Apple Podcasts or Pocket Casts, if you would please leave us a review, we'd be really appreciative of that. It would really help the channel and help the podcast. So please do that. Even if you don't listen to it on Apple Podcasts, but you have an Apple account, go leave us a review. We would really, really like that if you did that. So thank you so very much for doing that. And the second piece of housekeeping is that we do 2 times a month, we do a Linux user group. Now, for those of you who don't know what a Linux user group is, basically a bunch of nerds sitting in a virtual room together talking about the things that you'd expect Linux nerds to talk about. I think that's proper description. I don't know what we'll be talking about this Thursday, but we do have one coming up this Thursday. It's our early version of the lug. It's at 11:15 p.m. Eastern Time now. 11:15 a.m. Eastern Time. Matt, you're a dumbass. I almost had it just perfect, and then he had to screw it up. Anyways, if you want to join us, 11:15 a.m. Eastern Time, the best way to find out how to do that is either follow me on social media or join my Discord. I announce that in both places, and you can either join or you can watch the stream here on the channel. We also do a late one, which is at 8:15 p.m. Eastern Time on the 4th Thursday. I should mention that the early one's on the 2nd Thursday. So, anyways, if you're watching this or listening to this after Thursday, you can always catch the next one. It happens twice a month, one early, one late. Make sure to join us. So, now that the housekeeping is out of the way, and I only did one little boo-boo, which wasn't, on average, it's better than normal. So, anyways, we're going to go ahead and jump into the main topic, which is just generally, do you guys think that there's too much choice in Linux? Do you think that there are, one way to put it is, are there too many distros? But it's really more than just the distro question, because there's a lot of other stuff that we have multiple options for that basically replicate functionality. So, do you think that choice in the terms of Linux and open source software is a good thing or a bad thing? So who wants to go first? Nate goes first. There you go. You've been volunteered. Nate, go ahead.
Y'all go ahead and go first. I am trying to buy a friend a mouse because his broke.
Huh. That's a good use of podcast resources. All right, Tyler, you get to go first.
That threw me off, so you're gonna have to repeat the question.
All right, here we go.
I didn't expect you to say mouse.
I'm just done. I'm rage quit.
Is choice really the best thing about Linux? Is the question.
Okay. Sorry, I just wasn't expecting mouse. I just wasn't expecting it. But anyway, I would say yes and no. It is the best part about Linux after you get into it. It is a huge hindrance when you're trying to learn about Linux. It's the same thing as when you know a lot about like let's say you're watching your diet and you know a lot about what you're eating, going to a grocery store with a lot of choice is a good thing because you can get exactly what you're looking for. But if you're somebody who you were told by someone else to pick up Hot Pockets, and you go into a grocery store and there's 32 different brands of Hot Pockets, all with different flavors. Which one do I choose? It's kind of that problem. Like if you're not sure exactly which type of Linux might be best for you, or you're not really sure if for your use case it doesn't matter what you pick, the amount of choice that you have, not just in distribution, but in pretty much everything when it comes to Linux, is scary. Then you get familiar with it and you're like, okay, yeah, there couldn't be a better selling point. I can have whatever I want, or I can have multiple of what I want. Like, for example, window managers. If you want to run 8, you can. No problem.
And you should. I mean,
why not?
Drew, what about you? What's your answer?
I think Tyler is spot on, frankly. He said yes, but also no, because as far as yes is concerned, freedom to optimize, freedom to build exactly the experience that you want, whether it's for gaming, whether it's for development, whether you just want a minimal, or maybe you're into ricing. And that's all the things that I would say, yes, it gives you opportunities to build the exact experience that you want. I think that it also fuels innovation in terms of like what we can get in tools like Wayland compositors, for example, and projects like NixOS or Hyperland. And it makes the community fun because we want to explore things like tiling window managers and weird desktop environments, but at the same time, not always, because there is a paradox associated with choice. Newcomers will definitely get overwhelmed. Do I use GNOME? Do I use Plasma? Do I stay on X11? Do I go on Wayland? Do I use APT or DNF or Pacman or... there's so many choices that, especially for new users, that fragmentation and our documentation, which may be lacking, causes problems. So yes and no.
All right. So I think for me, technically the yes and no is the right answer. But I think that for me, the biggest problem with choice isn't that there's too much of it. It's just that we don't have a good guide on how to navigate it. So if you Tyler used the example of Pop-Tarts. My example would be salad dressing. Because if you go down the salad dressing aisle in the grocery store, there's literally multiple brands. All of them have the Italian dressing, the ranch dressing, and, you get, right? And you go down there and you don't, how can you choose between Hidden Valley and Ken's? What's the difference? Which is good?
HV all day. I'm just saying.
Right. But if you don't have a Drew next to you to answer the question, how are you supposed to know if you've never bought,
Well, I would actually I like your salad dressing example, because if you think about it, that is the perfect analogy for distro hopping. Are you going to sit, like, if you went into a grocery store and they allowed you to taste test every single one, you'd spend a whole afternoon in there trying different salad dressings. And you could make the argument if that's worth your time or not. But if you find the right one and you really love it, I mean, it was kind of worth your time. Perfect example of distro hopping. Like, you spend an afternoon or a day doing that, and Drew's completely gone.
You're going to get an expletive. It's going to be great.
Yes. Yes.
He's just there like, motherfucker, not again. That's the greatest thing ever. What'd you say this time, Drew?
I was silent, and
it just
no one could say otherwise.
It's just we're all gonna know.
Listen, it's okay. I got the audio from the last one. I'll just pull that piece out. And stick it in.
That's great. So if there were a Better Business Bureau or like an online guide to choosing salad dressings, and which it probably is, and that's something that you actually went to look for, which would be weird. But with Linux distros and software in general, the best place to go to find what best to use is the internet. It's also simultaneously the worst place to go, because if you go to Google and you search for best Linux distros for beginners, you're going to get results, and some of them are going to be recent results. Some of them are going to be from like 2008, where they all say Ubuntu, Linux Mint, whatever, or 2010 results, 2011, whatever, 20-year-old results. And some of those answers are still going to be things, but some of them are going to still have Antergos on the list. You know what I mean? And you're going to go searching for that. Maybe that's, maybe that sounds cool to you, but it's not there anymore. So the problem, and all of those lists that you're going to come across are all going to have different answers. Some of them are going to say Linux Mint is the best distro for new beginners. Some of them are going to say Papa West. Some of them are going to say Ubuntu. And then there'll be that one random article that says you should use Gentoo.
And then you could go about trying to find a community of Linux people, and then you come across Arch over here in chat. By the way, Arch Penguin, great dude. He said, like, make your own ranch. Like the dude in the, you go into a grocery store, there's the one crazy guy who's like, no, you shouldn't buy any of this stuff. Go home, make your own. Yeah, he's that dude in that Linux group who's like, no, what you need to do is Linux from scratch. That's what you should build
LFS.
your own Linux.
The make your own salad dressing response from an Arch guy is literally the perfect response. I mean, because that's why should you use Arch? Well, because you can build it yourself. It's the perfect thing. You don't have to worry about it out of the box. You get to make all the decisions. Yeah, but I think it's just like we have no definitive place to go or to send a new user to answer those questions, because everyone has a different answer. You can't come into a Discord like the Linux Cast and ask what's the best distro for Linux for a new beginner, because Nate's going to answer one way, I'm going to answer another way, everyone's going to answer a slightly different. Yeah, exactly. You're going to point to Papa West, and it's a good argument, Nate. Papa West is a good beginner's distro, but so is Linux Mint, so is Ubuntu. I could point towards Fedora, kinda. I wouldn't point anybody towards OpenSUSE or even Debian, as a brand new user. But still, every distro outside of Gentoo, I think, and Linux from scratch can have some argument for being a good distro for new beginners, and they're going to have fans of that argument. So people who will promote their distro because they think that it's easy enough for someone new to use it and have access to all the software and all that stuff, right? So the biggest problem isn't that there's a lot of choice, it's that the Linux community is shit at having a standard answer to the question. And we don't, it's a physical impossibility to have a standard answer to that question amongst all of us, because none of, like, I would never tell someone to go use Papa West because I don't want to use Papa West myself. It's just not my distro. I don't think there's anything wrong with it, but I wouldn't put it on my mom's computer. I wouldn't put OpenSUSE on there either, just to be that. I would put something like Ubuntu or Linux Mint on there. Just because I know how to service those a little bit better. I trust their development teams a little bit more than I do Papa West, because they're always doing new things. There's no offense to that. They're innovators. They do things. Linux Mint, it's gonna you can use Linux Mint 20 years from now. It's gonna be basically the fucking same. You know what I mean? They're not gonna do anything new. They're not gonna come out with a new desktop environment that you just have to try. It's just not. They did that. They've done their work. Ubuntu, never going to change. It's gonna look exactly the same forever. So. That's my point there. But again, that's what I would do. Nate would do something different. Zany, Drew, you both would have different complete answers. And that's the problem. Not that there's too much choice, just that we have a hard time agreeing on what choice most new users need to make. And
Matt, I think it was 6 months ago or something, and we came up with the idea of an AI bot named like Ask Zany or something like that. And we could have the same thing. Ask Nate, because he's going to come up with something like very wise when it comes to new user OS help. So I think we need some definite Ask Jeeves or Ask AI type bots,
Yes.
For the podcast.
Make it programmed to be like a virtual version of Nate. Like, it only recommends Pop OS. It's like, so if you ask it how you can install Gentoo, it responds by uninstalling Gentoo and then installing Pop OS.
You know what or they'll say, it's like, first of all, get 5 more monitors and then we'll talk.
I'm sorry, this website only works on setups with more than one monitor.
Yes. Have the download website detect if you have less than 5 and then doesn't load.
Hey, if you don't have at least 3 systems, we're not talking.
Literally, if it detects that you don't have enough monitors, it points you towards an Amazon listing using an affiliate link for the cheapest monitor or the best monitor or something.
That's awesome. That's so good.
For $8.99, here's a KTC 1080p 75 hertz monitor, 24 inches. What are you waiting on?
An affiliate link. So Nate's gonna make a little cha-ching on the side here.
Yeah, this is good.
It's sad. I know this off the top of my head.
Yes, it is.
No.
It's not sad, and it's also not surprising. I mean, just look around you. So I think that I guess the question, let's remove distros from the equation just a little bit. Do you guys
Can I give you my answer since I
thought you were still buying a mouse. I'm sorry.
No.
Go ahead.
No, I already bought it. It's already on its way.
One-click shopping.
Yeah. My answer is going to surprise you. I think my answer is no. It's not really a good thing, because the problem that you wind up having is what you just ranted about for, 10 minutes, 15 minutes now?
Well, I had to wait for Drew to come back.
Yeah. Right. But at the same time, it's so fragmented that literally, I know a lot of people hate on Linus all the time, but if it literally wasn't for him just saying no and kind of being a jerk at times, the Linux kernel would be a mess, to be honest.
Yeah.
But you had that one person that was making a decision saying, no, let's not do this. It's kind of ridiculous. And so, and the problem, like, even taking distros out, just look at GitHub. Look how many applications there are that there's a fork of the fork of the fork of the fork because somebody got mad of something else, of another project, and they just pulled everything. Well, then you wind up with all these projects that were good, but now they're all dead because there's nobody maintaining it because they done forked it off to something else. And so I feel like it could be a good thing, especially for tinkerers like us. It is a good thing, right? But for just normal users, it's not.
It's kind of like a mouse and cheese type thing. I mean, like, if you're a new user, especially, there's a maze and you don't know how to get through the maze. It's like, oh shit, I turned the wrong way. Now I have to go back and everything like that. It's a nightmare for newer users, but I mean, I would never give it up either. I mean, the other part of it is I would never give that kind of like choice up.
I'm sorry. Who's asking me to trade screens?
Exactly. That's what I was saying. The idea of trading a screen to you
Where are they at
is
so I can ban them? Anyways,
And this is like a send one monitor away, get 4 free kind of deal.
Yeah, it's got to be a buy one get one free, like 100%.
Like they have like on eBay every once in a while you find those like mini PCs or whatever. They're like a lot of 5. You get like 5 of them for like $140 or whatever. That's the monitor deal that Nate needs.
Listen, if I would trade this one, okay, but it better be a Samsung 49-inch ultra wide, like ultra wide.
That's like my dream.
Mm-hmm.
It's like $1,100, even more.
Mm-hmm.
Like I thought about that when I was getting mine, but I was like, okay, I don't, too expensive. All right. Anyways, so just on the subject of like software, do you guys think that, because obviously in some areas like package managers, like, you know, different things like that, that people have gone through and basically done work over and over again to basically do the same functionality. Do you think that that type of thing from a developer standpoint is a good thing? Or do you think it's a bad thing? So it's kind of like the whole waste of effort thing that we've talked about a little bit about before.
Yeah. Where's George Castro when you need him?
Yeah. I
You
love
know,
this.
because we're, you know, if that is a solution. If you're just talking about flat packs, then that is the kind of like the universal solution to defeat this, you know, this kind of like repetitive, you know, packaging up for APT or packaging up for DNF or packaging up for Pac-Man. You know, I mean, to avoid those kinds of problems, like, you know, there is a way to do that. I would hate that. Just putting that out there, I would hate that.
But even Flatpak has the same problems because snaps exist, app images exist, which solve
True.
the same problem, right? So even for the ultimate, you know, thing that everyone got together, came up with a solution, called it Flatpak. Although I don't know if Flatpak or snaps came first. Doesn't really matter. You know, we all came together, came up with a solution, came out with it as Flatpak, and then there was Canonical over there in the corner, like, you know, we don't own this, and we could probably do it better. So let's do snaps, you know. And then there was that one guy who was like, you know what? Mac OS does package management pretty good. Let's copy that and see how that goes. And we call it app images. And 10 years from now, we'll have a fourth one or something like that because someone will get pissed off at Flatpak, will fork Flatpak and decide that they can do it just slightly better in a different way with different permissions or a different license, or maybe they got pissed off at Red Hat for whatever reason and decided they need to go take it independent or whatever. You know, so I think that for me, the purpose of open source allows that to happen, and getting rid of it would be really, really bad. It would mean that it was no longer open source, right? So getting rid of it is bad. But if there was just a little bit more agreement on how to do things, it would be better off for a lot of people because, let's just face it, if we had to choose one package manager, we'd all choose apt. Like everyone would, okay? At least I think that everyone would. It may not be the best, but it is the most well-rounded out of all of them, I think, even though I don't use it every day. I would never choose Zipper for whoever that was in the chat that says, well, Matt would just choose OpenSUSE for everything. That's not true. I'm a homer, but not that much of a homer. But, I mean, I think the point stands, like, if we could come up with a it's a word that
Careful.
people are allergic to in the
Careful.
Linux commercial. If we come to a standard, I think a lot of people would be very happy, but it's just, they're allergic to it. Like, nobody can agree. Like, they cannot agree. Whether it comes to distros or packages or package managers or ways of, you know, web browsers, whatever, what have you. You know, everything out there has that one Linux Mint person who has to do it better.
Technically, they do agree. They agree to disagree.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very contrary. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know, guys. I think that at the end of the day, this is a question that we've talked about in the Linux community for 30 years, and there's no solution to it. Like, nobody's like coming like, I have the solution. Because if someone came up and said, I have the solution to the fragmentation problem of open source and Linux distros, there'd still be one other person that was sitting right next to him and say, yeah, well, I can fork it and do it better. Yeah. So
Yeah.
that's the way that it would work.
Oh,
Unfortunately.
by the way, Flatpaks came first.
Okay. I thought that was I thought that was true, but I knew Snaps also came out like as part of like the Ubuntu Enterprise solution, so I figured it was probably around the same time.
Yeah,
I mean, we could
Red
go
Hat and
on all
somebody
day
else.
when it comes to like disagreements in the Linux community. Flat out, it was just like, and that's what has sparked the innovation aspect to Linux, though. I mean, it's like, okay, Emacs or Vim. You want to, or there's a number of different kind of like topics where it's just like, there's no middle ground here, or it's like Ubuntu or Linux Mint for new users, so it's just one of those things where there's going to be people that are never going to agree about stuff, but it may help in sparking the innovation that we need. Like if I don't like something, then I'm going to go in my own direction. And I think that there's going to be a community that may like appreciate that as well. So,
Well, okay. So
just trying to
looking
play
at
the
it from
contrary
the
card.
looking at it from the case of like competition wise, if you have too much in one space, obviously some of them gets kind of bought out, right? In a particular space. But you mentioned that there's app images, snaps, and there's Flatpaks. Well, that's only 3, really. And so to me, that is better off than having, 7 or 9 in one space trying to compete for the same thing. I still personally don't want to get rid of system packages, but that's just because
I appreciate
Debian
that.
packaged tend to work
Yeah,
sometimes better.
If we asked the question from the mini topic earlier, only instead of window managers, and it was Flatpaks, if you could only use Flatpaks for the rest of your life, what would you do? Drew would be like, yeah, I'm not using Linux anymore.
That's overstating, but you may not be wrong either. I don't know.
No, I will just sit on my desert island and code my own
I might.
software.
Temple OS 2.0.
Yeah. All right. You guys have anything else to say on this topic, or did we burn it out?
Yeah, I'm
I
good.
think we hit the end of it.
All right. Nate?
No, I was going to say, I think we kind of burned it out because we're all in agreement that we all agree to disagree at this point.
Yeah.
There's always going to be fighting.
It was. It
Yes
wasn't,
and no is both. Is both.
Yeah. It wasn't a very good
answer.
conversation when we all had the exact same thing to say. So Tyler, by going first, said all of the points. All right. Yeah, Tyler's like rushing off. All right. Anyways, then let's go ahead and move on to the Nuggies of the week. So the Nuggies of the week is the last section of the podcast that we do each and every week. And these are basically apps or tips or tricks or picks or whatever you want to call them. Anything basically that we're interested in and would like to share with you guys. So Nate, your Nuggie of the week, please.
So I recently have been on this long journey to make this thing sound good. And it has absolutely made me crazy, literally. But I think I finally have the final form of what this is going to sound like from now on. And what I bought this next time was a Coda M1 microphone preamp mic gain booster. And it was literally just plug in, you turn on your 48 volt power, it done just fine. Actually, I had to even bring the gain down. I went from, I think it was like a plus 12 all the way down to a negative 10 on my gain. So it made a huge improvement of making this, of actually pulling more out of this microphone. And I don't have to exert myself as much. I can kind of keep it away with a 2-finger rule, and to me, it sounds way better than it did before. And I've been pretty happy with it. So that's my Nugget of the week.
Well, you sound fantastic. It's great stuff. Drew, your Nuggie of the week, please.
So this is the only forum of which I can actually talk about this because friends and family don't really care about this stuff at all, not even a little bit. But I was telling Matt recently that I swapped out my mechanical drives in my TrueNAS scale with SSDs, and when I did that, I decided that I was going to use some apps within TrueNAS. So I installed Olama, and then I installed OpenWebUI. And have been really focusing on trying to get a couple a couple AI models to work really, really well locally on my NAS. And so out of that, I picked something called Gemma 3 2B, which is a Google AI model, and another one called PHI 4 Mini, which is a Microsoft model. Both of them are very responsive on my limited hardware. And then I went one step further and I added a couple API calls to both ChatGPT and to Anthropic, which Claude is their AI model. And I've been testing them out. I showed Matt this a little bit, a few days ago and everything like that. It's really a lot of fun for me to try, compare these models. I don't think, none of them are going anywhere. So I might as well learn a little bit more about them, but to actually self-host your own kind of AI model and have it work and have it actually you could see the CPU kind of spin and go, oh, I'm thinking. Here's the answer. It was kind of an interesting project for me. So that is my Nuggie of the week.
Good stuff. And just for the record, it was pretty damn cool to try. So know that I was using AI that was hosted in Drew's house. I mean, if I were a hacker, the moving capabilities were off the charts. Tyler, did you come up with a Nuggie, or do you have a game that you've been playing this week that you want to pimp out?
Definitely have a game.
You can always use a game, man. It doesn't have to be open source.
Okay. Well, I mean, I have been playing the living absolute crap out of Contractors VR. It's a game that's been out for I think 5 years now, but it's been around for a while. They opened it up and they have mod support. And so if you ever played Call of Duty Zombies back in the day with your buddies and you were like, it'd be really cool if I could play this in real, make it feel like it's real life. They have that in Contractors VR. All of the OG zombie maps are there. Same guns, mystery box. I've been playing it with friends. It is ridiculously fun. It's not okay how fun it is. They have I played a Mario 64 COD Zombies map, which was hilariously fun and very, very good. Whoever made the map, you have all of the songs from Mario 64 in a selection that you can play through. All of these mods have their own custom menus that you can modify. So, and you can also get this on the standalone headsets. So you don't really need a computer to play it. Very fun.
Cool. All right, so my Nuggie of the week is an application called Warp. Now, I had no clue what this was until George Castro needed to send me the audio for the episode he was on. And since then, I've been using it like crazy. Every time I need someone to send me a file, I just say, hey, download Warp and send me the code. And I will download it. Or if I need them to download something, I'll send them the code and have download Warp. Basically what it is, it's like a single person to person type sharing where you upload something and then it gives you a code to send to that person. They'll enter the code on their end and it will download the thing. That's basically what it does. Now there is something similar called Warpinator that Linux Mint does. It's a similar kind of thing, only it's more based on your network, I believe. So you kind of have to be on the same network. This doesn't have to be on the same network. It can be wherever it is you want it to be. It is just really, really good. If you need to send any size file from one person to the next, you just pop it into Warp on your side, send them the code, they'll enter the code, it'll download on their side. As far as I know, there's no file limitations or anything. It just does it. It works phenomenally well. It's like magic how well it works. So, yeah, if you need to send files between two people and they are using Linux, I don't know if it's on Windows or Mac. I don't deal with those operating systems at all, so for all I know, it's just Linux. But if you need to do that, I highly recommend checking out Warp. So that is the Nuggies of the week, and that is the podcast for the week. It is a little bit of a short one, so Nate will be happy about that. We've come in under an hour 2 weeks in a row. It's really weird for us, so that either means that we're getting better at this or the topics have just been duds. Not sure which one it is. So
probably the topics.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'll do better. Anyway, so that is it for this one. If you want to get in contact with us, the best way to do so is head on over to the website, is the linuxcast.org. There you'll find all the previous episodes all the way back to season 1, except for the first 3 episodes, which I get continually asked, where are the first 3 episodes? You're never going to see them. Those are in the vault forever. It's like the Disney vault, only it's like welded shut. You're not getting those. They're horrendous. Anyways, but you can go back and binge watch. Like, I have had multiple people email me saying that they're going through episode by episode listening to the podcast, and I respond almost the same every time, like, you are a trooper, because even I wouldn't do that. That's horrendous. Anyways, if you want to get in contact with us via email to linuxcast.org is the best way to do that. If you want to find us on YouTube, obviously you can subscribe to the Linuxcast at youtube.com/linuxcast. Nate is on YouTube as well. He's Nate Picks Tech World on YouTube. Tyler, okay, we just need to pause for a second, because the last time Tyler was on here, we made a demand of him to actually sign into his YouTube channel and stream 0AD, and he did. So he found his password long enough at least to do that. So pretty awesome. You can go subscribe to the occasional streams of one Zany OG on YouTube. YouTube.com/ZanyOG is where you'll find him. Drew, he makes videos on Debian and HomeLab stuff and scripting and all sorts of stuff. He's at youtube.com/JustAGuyLinux. Definitely go on over and check all those guys out. Make sure you hit the subscribe button to all of them as well. So that is it for this one. If you want to get this hat, if you in fact love Vim like I do, I have some brand new merch up on my store. That's shop.thelinuxcast.org. You can get this one, or you can actually get Come On Hat Rack. I have a Linux Nerd hat here as well, and it's not just hats. I got t-shirts and stuff like that. So now that I've done my obligatory pimp of the show, or the shop, I think that's where we'll end it. So we record this live every Tuesday at 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time, or thereabouts, if someone's not using Windows and needs to download Audacity. Mm-hmm. I'm not pointing fingers on that.
Don't know who that would be.
Anyways, you can join us live and participate in the chat, where we have a good time. They're usually just making fun of us in the chat, or they're debating Emacs versus Vim. I think I saw that for a little while tonight. There was also like a 10 minutes chat on someone trying to get Nate to trade monitors with them, which is, cute, but not going to happen. So if you want to join us live, you can take part in the shenanigans of the live chat on every Tuesday, or you can hit us up and listen to the awesome edited version, which is edited by Mr. Nate. That is uploaded every Saturdays and available on the YouTube channel or on any podcatcher you can possibly think of. So there you go. We'll see you guys next week. I hope you have a good one. We'll see you.
I got barely a quesadilla.